Redditors who have quit toxic jobs, what were the signs? Increasing responsibility without increasing wages, new employees starting out making more than seasoned veterans, promotions coming from outside of the company instead of from within. If you wake up in the morning and hate on the fact that you have to go to your job, it's an obvious sign something is wrong. Look for another job ASAP. Honestly, a high turnover rate. People maybe stay there a year and immediately bail if they don't get fired first. They clearly don't want you there. My skyrocketing anxiety and depression. People were getting fired and they were genuinely happy about it and relieved the experience was over. Many signs of unhappiness. Being out of it for 3 years now, I can tell how toxic it was because I still flashback weekly and am amazed I survived it. No path for upward movement, unfair treatment including favoritism, toxic work environment, bullying, gossip, low pay raises, more and more work, but no additional compensation. Not being able to sleep because of a work thing. Your boss praises you and your coworkers in front of their boss, but behind closed doors they are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Jackass towards you. They speak over you constantly. They bully the opposite sex. They say we're like family, no wonder I don't like you. They pee out kidney stones and bring them to show you afterwards like it's show and tell. They tell you people only leave jobs because of poor management. Well, yes and no, but in this case, yes, I left because you were an AH. Going to a deep dark place where I felt like I was drowning underwater in pitch darkness and had no clue which way was up or down. I had a total breakdown to my sister on the phone one night and told her I was worried I was going to do something stupid because I was in such a bad place because of the job. Every bad thing in life was going back to how toxic and horrible my job was. It really just shook me into reality of how bad it was. I quit shortly after because life blessed me with a new job and I was able to give the appropriate notice and leave and never look back. At a startup, had no strict timings. I even worked at 2 a.m.s and midnights just for the sake of it. I lived far from the new office before which they had no office. Week 1, I arrived late in the morning. I was immediately called into a meeting asking the reason to be late to work. I immediately called it quits. Nobody ever asked me why I was working at 2 a.m. Nobody should ask me why I arrived late. Massive change in admin. Rules that made no sense and made to punish a really effective staff. My husband agreeing that me leaving this full-time perm job for a 60 temp contract. If you don't leave soon, I don't have enough bail money. When the HR manager gaslights you until you cry and then asks for a hug once you're done apologizing for something you never did. Repeatedly. The day I got hired, a worker said, "Why are they hiring someone onto this sinking ship? Are you violently unhappy? What has changed in your life?" If your job centers around your unhappiness, you know. I worked at a pet store in the fish reptile department and I refused to sell some fish and an anemone to a customer after they told me their tank set up. They also just seemed totally uneducated about the fish they were asking for. The fish would suffered and probably died, so I politely refused and told them what to do if they wanted to come back later to start with just a few of the fish they wanted. They complained and my manager wrote me up. I quit that day. There were other signs though. A lot of the baby animals that didn't sell were just sent to the shelter when they got older. It was awful. You're regularly abused, demeaned, or ignored, can't get raises, are passed over for promotions, and/or others are allowed to take credit for your work. But unless the situation is totally intolerable, don't just quit. Stick it out until you have been offered another job elsewhere. Absolutely zero work-life balance. Expected to work 60 HRS weekend holidays wearing multiple hats, and picking up the slack from teammates who were in director positions and couldn't figure out how to do the most basic tasks or learn the tools for success. I've only ever quit bad bosses. I had one boss throw me under the bus for a failed project I'd repeatedly warned her about. I was gone within 2 months. I had another boss agree to move a meeting from my WFH day to the following Monday because I thought we'd brainstorm better in person, and then cite that incident to ding me on my performance assessment for being unavailable during telework. I was gone within a month that time.